I actually find some of Aleister Crowley's writing difficult to read, unclear. But he was a famous writer. But there are many intelligent people who actually are not that great at communicating, in my opinion. At this point in my life, I'm a writer who is now more like Hemingway than Thomas Wolfe. Clarity. I think that's what you get from living in this Twitter type age. You want logic. Just one thought leads to the next in a nice organized procession. Thoughts are like footsteps marching forward through time. If this, then that. If that, then this. That's how information is passed. And when you read some of the stuff about the Keys of Solomon, it really doesn't matter so much if you understand the full context, because we know that the origins and all that are always going to be a mystery, but the symbols themselves are incredibly clear. These symbols are something you should almost look at as being, technically, they're to be turned into something physical, what you would call a talisman. A talisman is any object associated with religious or magical powers intended to protect or heal or harm individuals. It's a magical object. And there are 44 of these, and I'm going to give you some examples of, if you want to see what they look like, all you have to do is get online and look at them. I hope that you will, however, go to SolomonKit.com, SOLOMON, SolomonKit.com, to see what I'm talking about, and I'll tell you more about why that is in a moment. So I got online and I started looking up some of these particular, we'll just call them talismans for now. And they all have, again, very interesting artwork. So one of these symbols says, "This gives you victory in any argument or competition, gives you courage and power in trials and quarrels, and supports good decision making." Another one here that actually has a scorpion on it says, "This gives you magical and spiritual powers and helps you control evil and dark forces." Here's one that says, "This protects against harm and threat and causes your opponent's own weapons to turn against him." Here's one that says, "This gives you personal charm and charisma to magnetize people to you, good for attracting a soulmate or for any social purpose." This one says, "Helps you attain the impossible and fulfill your wishes even when they are contrary to the laws of nature." There's one here that says, "Protection from all natural disasters, sea storms, earthquakes, and lightning, storms in travel and sailing." One says here, "Strengthens the spirit as it ascends to higher realms." Let's see here. Here's one, "Protects against detractors who speak ill of you, conspiracies, etc." Here's one, "Gives power in any business engagement, enhances your persuasiveness and finding favor with rivals. This helps you succeed in business and debates." Here's one that says, "This will make you shine with divine light and get all your desires and wishes fulfilled. Provides protection from any harm or danger." See, this is the kind of stuff. You have 44 symbols that are each energetically charged, supposedly, to create a particular type of result. So I started finding ones that I liked online, and then I would print them off. Anybody can do this for free. I would print it off into a size. It's about the size of a U.S. quarter, like a coin, and I would cut it out, and I'd put that on the input plate of my wishing machine. Because for a wishing machine to work, all you need to do is represent what you want. And you can do that by writing words, or you can do it by drawing a picture. Well, there's thousands of years of tradition of each one of these symbols carrying a certain type of energy. So I started putting it on the wishing machine. And so, for example, if I wanted to project one of these things toward me, like let's say I was going to go on a trip and I wanted to say stay safe, I would take the travel one, I'd put it on the input plate, put a picture of myself on the output plate, tune the machine, and now I'm transmitting that energy to me. And I started experimenting with these symbols many, many years ago, and I'm telling you, for the most part, they seem to work incredibly well. Here is one right here. Listen to this. It says, "Heals all kinds of diseases, pains, and injuries. The seal should be applied unto the afflicted area of the body." I mean, it crosses the gamut. I became so impressed. I said, you know what? Instead of just having printouts of these, what if I literally have talismans that I can carry with me? What if I have something like a metal token that has this symbol on it that I can put in my pocket and keep with me? So here's what I did. I got online, I did some research, and I ended up printing out this nice big poster that has the main 44 seals of Solomon. Okay, I mean a thick, full color, semi-gloss poster, 11 inches by 17 inches, That's 27.94 centimeters by 43.18 centimeters. Then I obtained a complete set of these symbols. And you can hear this in my hand. It's like a bag of coins. These are the 44 pentacles, as they call them. And these are made they're metal. They're made of zinc alloy with the backgrounds of each one of these coins or tokens blackened. They're thick, slightly smaller in diameter than a U.S. quarter. And what I did was I took this poster and I laid it out on a table, and I took every single one of these coins and I matched it up with its symbol on the poster. Because I found that when I did this, it helped me to figure out which one I wanted, because I could see them all at the same time and read the descriptions of every single one all at the same time, and then just pick the coin up that had the symbol that I wanted to work with energetically. And then that's what I'd place on my wishing machine, or I would carry it with me in my pocket for a day or two, or I put it on a similar manifestation device to try to transmit that energy, or I simply place the token in position where I'll notice it and think about it as often as possible through the day, and then once the goal is achieved, I just take it and replace it back to its spot on the poster. So most of the time, all of my tokens are on the poster, undisturbed. But when I need something, I think about it, I meditate on it, I pray upon it until I find the token that seems to best symbolize my, and then I take that token and I work with that energy. But you don't want to lose your token if you're going to carry it with you, because I got these as a set. It's a complete set of 44 tokens. I can't just buy one at a time. And I've been using this setup, this particular setup, for a year now. And it has worked so well for me that I decided that I'm going to make 50 of these kits that are exactly like the ones that I use, where you get this, I mean, this is a frameable poster. And then you get the bag with the metal talismans. Also a little booklet for your convenience, like a little pocket-sized booklet that you can keep with you, or maybe if you're in bed at night and you want to read a little bit more about them. It's got all that stuff. I'm going to make 50. Actually, I made 50. They're sitting there right now. And I put them up at my website, SolomonKit.com, SolomonKit.com, SolomonKit.com. You'll see a little video there that I shot that shows you exactly what I use and exactly what you're going to get if you get one of these. And look, you don't have to buy anything from me. You can get online and do exactly what I did. You can print out these symbols, read about it, make sure you do proper research, you don't get misled. Because the worst thing you can do is make a mistake and get one that's not matched up for its correct purpose and start working with that energy. You want to stay away from the demonic stuff, of course. But you can print out, if you want to test it out, just print out stuff online. And it won't cost you a penny other than your printer paper and your ink, and you can start playing with it to see if it works. But I think once you do that, you'll want to have something more durable and something more interesting that you can work with on a regular basis the rest of your life. And that's why you will like this kit and that I put together for me. And so, like I say, now I put it together for you. SolomonKit.com, only 50 of these, and I can't wait to see if other people, if you have the same type of experience that I've had using it. And it's funny to me, I haven't seen the movie Doctor Strange in a long time, but there's a scene apparently when Doctor Strange, he enters some library. The librarian is asking him about the books he's been reading, and he says, "I see you've read the Book of the Invisible Sun, the Astronomia Codex, the Codex Imperium, and the Key of Solomon. You finished all of these?" So it's even in that level of pop culture. When we come back from this break for our final segment, I have at least one story to share with you. I got an email from a guy. Here's what it says. Here's the subject line. My wishing machine manifested over $1 million. He's going to tell you exactly what he did when we come back. I'm Joshua P. Warren. You're listening to Strange Things on the Understand Paranormal Podcast Network, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. There's more strange things coming right up. The Art Bell Vault has classic audio waiting for you now. Go to coasttocoastam.com. final segment of this edition of Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I am your host, Joshua P. Warren, and I just love getting interesting emails from listeners that I can share with you. This just came in less than 24 hours ago from a man, I believe he lives in Pennsylvania. He wrote a very long, detailed email, but he just asked that I don't mention his name. And I have all his info, though. This is legit, okay? His subject line says, "My wishing machine manifested over $1 million, and I didn't even ask for any amount." So let me read through this, and I'm going to sort of edit some of the details out here and there. So because he says, "I don't mind if you share this with your fans." He said, "Back in March of this year, my mother received a letter from a lawyer informing her that a distant relative had passed, and she was going to inherit a certain percentage of money from the sale of the deceased person's property. After all the expenses from the sale, including the cleanup of the house and property, the lawyer's fee, the real estate agent's cut, all etc., the executor would get 10%, and any remaining proceeds would be equally divided between the 9 remaining families. Of the 9 remaining families, all cousins, each would get a cut based on how many members were left living in each. In my mother's case, this was a 3-way split with my mother, her only remaining older sister, and a niece would get my mother's younger sister's share since she passed away years ago." All right, so you get what's going on here. Someone has passed away, and after they deal with the property, then the profit's going to be split among the heirs. So here's what he says he did. He says, "I set up my Use the Force / Star Wars wishing machine in this way." Now, if you want to know what he's talking about, go to wishingmachineproject.com. Here's how he set up his machine. Was put a copy of your luck and money combo sigil on the input plate. And any of you, by the way, can get that for free if you go to thesigillab.com and scroll down to the bottom. And I'm just doing it right now to confirm everything looks good. There's a lot of cool free sigils there, but if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the luck and money combo sigil there. So he printed that one out and put it on the input plate. On top of that, I took a copy of the paper the lawyer sent my mom with a drawing of our family tree showing all the roots branching off from the deceased at the top, and then circled my mother's name. And I wrote, quote, "Someone died and left my mother blank, a large sum of money." Okay, so he didn't even write an amount, he put blank, a large sum of money. So you see how well he's doing here at representing the concept of what he wants. He's got the money sigiled. He's got a copy of the paper representing the lawyer. He's got the family tree visualizing all this flowing. Someone died and left my mother blank. He goes on to say, "Since I am a level 3 Reiki healer, I drew several Reiki symbols on top of this wish statement, including one that sends healing energy to the future to be there for the cleanup, repairs, and the actual cell itself." A picture of my mom smiling went next. And finally, a nice piece of moldavite was on top of this entire stack. So that he did a lot on there, but it's all great stuff as he is building this sandwich of energies that are culminating in what he wants. And of course, you've heard me talk about the power of moldavite. It's an earth-shattering stone for manifestation. So he tops the whole thing off with a piece of moldavite. He says, "I set the dials and turned the machine on. Then I moved my mom's photo to the output plate, and it has been running for months. My mom joked with her sister and niece that if they were lucky, they would have enough cash to go out for a cup of coffee. And if the sale went really well, maybe even have enough for a nice meal with it." He says the property, while being 117 acres, was in very rundown shape. There were 2 houses remaining on the farm. Barns and other buildings had rotted away years ago. The property had been passed down from grandparents to their children and then their children. Now was in the hands of just remaining cousins. He goes on to say, the farmhouse had frozen pipes that had burst, and then he gives all these details about just really how bad the shape of the property was. And so they went out to clean it, and he says it's no wonder it took almost 6 months for everything to get finalized from the sale of the property. As a few days ago, my mom heard from Executor, and when I stopped to check on her after work, she couldn't stop smiling, saying she got enough money that we could get several cups of coffee and some nice meals besides. When all was said and done, and everything was paid in full, including the Executor's 10%, there remained $900,000 to divide between the remaining families. Each family got $100,000, and then he talks about how it's all been split up. He says it's pretty clear that the property, with all its faults, sold for over $1 million, since there was $900K left to divide after all the expenses were paid. And I believe in my heart and soul, the wishing machine helped bring about this super successful sale. Wow, how great is that? Well, sir, you know who you are, and you did just a perfect job setting up that machine. This is fantastic. Congratulations. That's how you set up a wishing machine. And that's why I also say sometimes, like, you don't want to be too specific, because you might limit yourself. What if he just put I'd love to have $10,000. Well, maybe he'd only gotten $10,000, but because he gave the universe some wiggle room, well, he got a lot more than that. And that's a lesson for all of us as we try to manifest things. So thank you for that email. I want to leave you all with one final thing here. As I'm recording this, just so happens that the Halloween season is coming up. I want to tell you a funny story that, of course, one of my ghost tours is in Boulder City, Nevada, which is about a 30-minute drive from the Las Vegas Strip. Charming little town. So many great stories. As a matter of fact, pretty soon I'm going to be doing a ghost investigation that I plan to tell you about. But anyway, I could tell you lots of spooky stories, but I prefer to tell you this one. As you're going through downtown historic Boulder City, there's an odd statue right there on the side of the historic district of a man, and he's carrying brooms and rolls of toilet paper, and he's called Alabama, the toilet paper hero of the Hoover Dam, because Boulder City was built for the workers of the Hoover Dam, and his job was to go around and be the maintenance guy, and he was invaluable because of that. So much so that they honored him. And one of the stories that I'm told this is true, that you might have one of our tour guides tell you if you take the tour, is that one day he was in an outhouse and he was fishing around with a long pole. You can imagine how disgusting this is. And some of the workers came up and said, "What are you doing, Alabama?" And he said, "I dropped my jacket in there." And they said, "Oh, good Lord, why don't you just let it go?" And he said, "Well, my sandwich was in the pocket." That's sort of in its own way, isn't it? If you're gonna be near Las Vegas, we do it year round. But obviously, this is a very popular time. Go to hauntedbouldercity.com. Hauntedbouldercity.com. I created it. I own it. I manage it, and you're guaranteed to have a great time. And of course, if you're in Asheville, North Carolina, that's where you'll find my Haunted Asheville doors. Hauntedasheville.com. All right, my friends, I hope you've enjoyed this show. It is now time for us to relax. If you can, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Let us all meditate together on the one, the only, the famous Good Fortune Tone. That's it for this edition of the show. Follow me at Joshua P. Warren. Plus, visit joshuapwarren.com to sign up for my free e-newsletter to receive a free instant gift, and check out the cool stuff in the Curiosity Shop, all at joshuapwarren.com. I have a fun one lined up for you next time, I promise. So please tell all your friends to subscribe to this show and to always remember the golden rule. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your interest and support. Thank you for staying curious. And I will talk to you again soon. You've been listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. Thanks
Thanks for listening to the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. Make sure and check out all our shows on the iHeartRadio app or by going to iHeartRadio.com.
This is an iHeart podcast. This is an iHeart podcast.
Did you know Tide has been upgraded to provide an even better clean in cold water? Tide is specifically designed to fight any stain you throw at it, even in cold. Butter? Yep. Chocolate ice cream? Sure thing. Barbecue sauce? Tide's got you covered. You don't need to use warm water. Additionally, Tide Pods let you confidently fight tough stains with new ColdZyme technology. Just remember, if it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
Win $5,000 in cash during our first Red Tag sales event at Orem Toyota. Here's how to win. Visit Orem Toyota starting June 26th. Find a vehicle, take a selfie, and post it with hashtag OTRedTag25, tagging Orem Toyota. It's that easy. The more selfies you take, the more entries you get. We will announce the winners live on Facebook, so make sure to register to see if you are one of our lucky winners. The next drawing is July 17th. No purchase necessary. Restrictions apply. Must be 18 or older and a resident of Utah, Nevada, or Arizona. See dealer for details.
We've all been there. You buy something one day and find out it went on sale the next. When it comes to your dream home, nothing can be more frustrating than to have interest rates drop right after you sign. For a limited time, Golden West Credit Union will help you buy or refi now and free-fi later. When rates drop, you can refinance once at no cost anytime in the next 3 years. Log in this exclusive offer today at gwcu.org. Equal housing lender NMLS 40574.
We'll take care of you.
You're free now. Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers, chonk harder than you ever